You're good?
Hi guys, so Maxim here from Antrim Bata, and I just want to make a quick video about thrusting in Irish stick fighting and probably in stick fighting in general. So I get asked this question a lot when I put out videos, when I talk about techniques in Irish stick fighting, and people ask a lot about why is there not more thrusting involved in Irish stick fighting. And well, my answer to that is it's complex, but there's some very good reasons why you don't see that very often. And it's true to most, I'd say probably, venturing a wild guess here, but probably like 95% of all stick styles I've seen have kind of the same idea about thrusting, at least when it comes to smaller size sticks, like walking sticks or screamo size sticks. I'm not talking about quarterstaffs or like big sticks like these, because that's a whole different category. But for these ones, the same advice comes back often and often, and they say that thrusts are not that useful because they require more chambering and more power than all the other strikes, and there's also a whole of different reasons why they're not as good a technique as, I'll say, regular strikes. And I'll just explain to you a few of those reasons why. So the first reason is mostly due to targeting. So with a stick, I can strike different parts of the human body and still manage to do damage, right? I can, of course, strike the head in different places. I can strike the neck. I can strike the elbow, the hand, the wrist, forearm. I can strike the ribs. I can strike the knees, even the thigh to a certain degree, the shin, like the groin, you name it. So there's all these targets. With thrust, it's a lot more limited. The reason being that thrust with a stick don't quite have the same power behind it. It's due to different factors. I'm not a physicist, so I'm not going to go into much details. But to be able to get a good strike with a stick, I basically got to punch my way through. And it's interesting in Antrim Bata that the thrusts that we have are called stick punches. So it's one of the only technique that has actually a traditional name behind it, and the name tells us a lot, because the way that I'm going to throw my thrust is very much like a punch. Imagine if I had no stick, the way I would punch Carl here, I would probably come a little bit like this, chambering a little bit and getting in to my opponent, using my hips, using my body weight behind it, right? So with a thrust, with a stick punch, it's the same idea. I've got this kind of whipping motion forward and do it from up above. So I need this extra chambering, and that telegraphs my motion a little bit. And if I try to do it the same way as I do with a sword, let's say as in fencing, I would get very little result. In fencing, I need to extend, then push. If I try this on Carl, if I try this with an actual sword, he'd have his sword through his body right now. But it takes very, very little force, because all the energy is concentrated in a very, very small point. But here with the stick, even if I came with full power, maybe to the plexus, maybe to the throat, maybe to the eye, the mouth, the nose, the groin, the ribs, if I can manage, these targets would probably get some result. But with any other target, it's going to hurt. If he's tough enough, if he's an experienced fighter, he's just going to shrug it off, and he's going to throw me a strike and use that opportunity to hurt me. Right? So that's one of the issues, is I need a lot more power to make my thrust count. And I get limited targets in regards to, in opposition to regular strikes. Now, another issue is also because if Carl here tries to throw a thrust at me, he's gonna have to do it in a very straight line, right? He can come around maybe in different ways, but his hand is gonna be fairly exposed while he's doing this. So it's gonna be fairly easy for me to time the strike, to strike the hand, right? So that's another thing. Where a regular strike, if I try to time the hand, it's going to be very hard for me because the hand is traveling back and forth very rapidly and at different trajectories, right? So if Carl just throws random strikes there, if I try to time the hits, it's going to be very hard to do it safely. Whereas if he tries to throw thrusts at me, it's going to be very easy for me to just grab and casually just time those hits. Another reason why is it's easier to grab, easier to disarm. So with a regular strike, if I try to grab it, my hand is pretty much exposed because usually the strike is going to come towards me and my hand is going to need to come in between the strike and in between my body and the stick to grab. So it's very dangerous. I can do it once the stick has finished moving. But if I block it, then I can grab. Or if I manage to slip out and then maybe manage to grab the stick, that's a possibility. But otherwise, it's going to be very hard. With a thrust, I don't have this problem because the thrust is moving again in a very predictable manner, but also there is no threat to my hand, right? Wherever he's going to strike, I can easily just grab the stick as it comes toward me, right? Well, most of the time. So, right, so I'm going to be able to grab that stick because it's basically just a line coming towards me. As long as I can block, as long as I can avoid, I can grab the stick without a problem. Not so much an issue with a sword, obviously, because you got edges, you can always grab it, but there is always this inherent danger that if my hand slips, I'm going to cut myself. Not a danger with a stick. That doesn't mean that we don't trust. We do trust when we get the opportunity to do it. So usually if I get, let's say, if I can manage to get an opening, I'm definitely going to do stick punches. Like in this case, I block. You see I've got a big opening right here to Carl's ribs, right? So it's going to be very hard for him to grab. It's going to be very hard for him to time my strike because his stick is already returning to chamber at low, and his hand is totally opposite to my stick. So that's an opportunity for me to strike. Another way I can do it is entering into an attack. So if he strikes my hand, I can come in, I can use a stab, I can use a bayonet as well. So right here, I can stab both hands, giving me a lot more stability, and so a lot more power into my thrust. So there are definitely ways to thrust, it's just very limited compared to regular stick strikes, again. And you find this in, again, many other martial arts. In France, the place where people were saying the thrust is all you need to know, with a foil, with a small sword, with even the rapier before that, and even with sabers and other types of swords, French were renowned for their expertise in thrust. Well, you have Lacan, so walking stick instructors, that are telling us don't even bother with the thrust with a cane. And these guys were teaching foil too, right? They're saying you got to chamber them like this. They're very long. You telegraph your strike. So don't bother too much unless you get an opportunity. Unless, let's say, Carl tries to go for my hand, I block, then I get an opportunity for the thrust. You see this everywhere. Eskrima as well, same thing. If I can manage to get in and then chamber those thrusts, sure. But again, I gotta chamber them, and they do chamber them quite a lot. So all this we're saying, thrust exists in Irish stick fighting. Historically, people say the Irish don't trust with their stick too much, and well, these were the reasons why, at least from my opinion. So I hope you like this little video. Thanks everyone for helping me today, to Andrew and Carl. And if you're ever in Ottawa one day, please drop by. We're at the Warriors of Light Academy Mondays and Thursdays. So hope to see you there. Bye.